Today's final screening is Bigman, directed by Camiel Schouwenaar and with screenwriter Youssef Tichelman. And they are both here. If you could give a wave. They're going to be joining us for a Q&A after the screening, so make sure you stick around for that. So Shine Global is a nonprofit film production company, and we share stories of children's and families' resilience. And we started the Children's Resilience in Film Awards to honor other filmmakers who are also pursuing this mission. And Bigman tells a coming-of-age family story, and it's really fun to watch. I think you're all going to enjoy it. You're going to tear up, but it's a really fun one, and I'm glad this is our final screening. So without any more, I'm just going to let it get started so you can enjoy. Thank you.
Such a wonderful and heartfelt film, and we were so intrigued by the story when we first saw the film, and we're really honored that you were able to join us in this festival. Camiel, let me start with you. This is the Children's Resilience in Film Awards, so I think you could probably have anticipated this question. How would you define resilience, and how do you think that both Dylan and Youssef exemplified it?
Yeah. Thank you, of course, for inviting us at this great event and inspiring stories. I think resilience has to do with imagination. That you see opportunities, possibilities where others don't, together with the fact that you are surrounded by loved ones. So we saw in all the films that these children have families or parents who love them, who take care of them. So in our story, it's the friendship, of course, with Youssef, which is a very special friendship. And with Maya, with the girl, his relationship with his mother and his father, he learns by this relationship to accept, in a sense, his new life. So
maybe I can add something to that. Yeah. I think one of the good things about children is that they don't think in a too realistic way. They are still a bit naive, so they dare to dream big. And of course, Dylan cannot be a professional football player anymore, but the fact he's still dreaming about it makes him grow so much. So I think that's a good thing of being a kid. Yeah.
Certainly that drives so much of his intentions. This story is partially based on your own life story. Can you tell us a little bit about this and how you met Camiel, and how you happened to work together on this film?
Well, I met Camiel during a network lunch for screenwriters. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, and we started working on a totally different story. And then I came up with the idea of writing a story based on my childhood. And, well, I'm unlike Dylan, I was born with a spinal cord injury, but I was crazy about football. And I was always crawling around the living room, smashing the ball against the walls, driving my mom crazy. And at some point, she took my ball away from me. And then I was bored, and I was just doing like this in my wheelchair. Fell backwards, and then I could prevent myself from falling with my hand, and then I discovered this way of playing football. And then I could finally go out, play football with my friends, and I did it for years. It was much better than Dylan, actually. And I did it for years, and I really liked it, and I still do it every now and then, Yeah, that's. I wanted to tell a story about this really great childhood memories, and it's better for the story to start off with a boy who can walk and is a really good football player, and then something terrible happens to him.
Yeah, it was quite a special way of how we met, and because what Job said, we started working, and then if you are working in a creative process, you always talk about your own life, your private, and so this when he was telling about his childhood, and then, but what we did, we wanted to make a universal story. And so all the personal experience from Job we translated into this story about friendship and how this huge change of this boy, he overcomes this problem. And I think the beauty of this film is that it feels very authentic, and that's all the input from Job. And well, he has many examples. If you ask him, you find it back in the film. But of course, it has a dramatic structure of playing for the tournament, and it's about winning or losing. And he accepts at the end. He is accepting his loss. So that's why we came up with the sport film genre, because it's about accepting your loss, and then you can continue.
What I was struck by in watching the film was, certainly it was Dylan's loss, but as you're alluding, Camiel, it impacted on all his friends, and particularly Youssef, and how, in a system like theirs, how does that system reorganize around such a devastating injury, and how are they all impacted, and how do they all grow? And you managed to make a film about kids that's not childish, and that's not easy.
It was very important for us, because we didn't want to make a childish movie. We wanted to make it a bit raw and realistic.
Yeah, and I think the fact that the children act so well, that it is a very mature story for the most children they played 12 years old, but most of them were already 13. It's easier. It has to do with law and child labor. But they played 12 years old, and they connected so good to the story with the characters. So I think that was mostly to do with the tone, and they were so much enjoying. Of course, kids enjoy playing in a feature film. It's a big dream for a lot of kids, but especially this story, they had so much fun, and there were also a lot of fights. We had some big trouble with these boys, but we managed to keep the spirits high.
So I want to ask one last question, then we're going to open up to the audience. I think there's a story here. How did you find these actors?
Well, it's a very fun story how we found Mike, the main character. He was the girl in charge of street casting was running a grocery store car in a parking garage, and then she heard a driver shout to a boy, "Hey, fuck off!" And then she looked and she saw a boy with red hair on a BMX bike. "Fuck off yourself!"
Don't swear.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, will it be beeps? Yeah, will it be? Okay, sorry. And then she came up to the boy and said, "Do you want to play in the movie?" He said, "Well, yeah, why not?" Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how we found it. Was pure luck, and then he had no experience, so I did I think 4 rounds of casting, because he by nature he is like a very street kid. Like, I don't care. But there is a sense of very vulnerability. Yeah. So we were really intrigued by this guy, but I was also, as a director, he is the whole story, is pressing on his shoulder, and he had no experience. And I could not really read him. Like, does he like it? And he was always like, yeah, all right, so, but of course like his character, so in a way, and it took a while, and we had, of course, a lot of discussions with production and the casting agents. That is this the right guy? And they convinced me, yeah, this is the right guy, and I'm so happy that of course he did a great job. Yeah.
Yeah, and I picked him up during summer holiday every week from his parents' house with a spare wheelchair in my car, and then we would practice for hours. And I thought in every week he had to climb the chairs without using his legs, and I would make a video with my telephone, and then every week got a little better at it, and his arms got much stronger. His dad bought a pull-up bar. And after a few weeks, he was physically ready. After a few months, he was physically ready for the part.
That's very moving. Okay, let's open the questions up to the audience. And you know the drill. There's a mic.
Thank you for the film. I never thought I would be so touched by a film about children playing football. But you know, all this crying for the weekend, I'm full of emotions, so thank you so much for the film. Were you also on set like a consultant during the shooting, or was your work more in the pre-production?
More during pre-production. And I visited a few of the shooting days, but it made me very nervous. And so I decided not to go anymore after a while.
Yeah, we had an idea that we should use Jopp's hands for the football scenes because he can play better football in the wheelchair than the boy. But you know, it didn't work, and it was
we had no time.
We had no time. It was not a big budget, and so we had like 25 shooting days with these kids, and it was like dung dung dung, yeah.
See the difference between a narrative film and a documentary film. 8 years.
Yeah.
25 days.
I am so.
Well, 5 years of writing, but
5 years of writing.
Yeah, we wrote 3 years on the script. Yeah.
It was really moving, and a lot of choices you made that was so intelligent, fascinating, particularly the ending. I'm wondering how you struggled or whether you had multiple endings, because you managed to make a bit of a rocky studio film, but the twist with him accepting his limitation and coming off the field in order to do it was really, quite brilliant. But I'm wondering if, as a screenwriter, you wrote that many times or many ways and said, no, they can't win, and he stays on the field, and that was a pretty bold choice.
yes, well, it took us some time to figure out that we needed a more meaningful ending, because the ending we had for years was Dylan scoring the winning goal. But that's a bit predictable, and it doesn't tell anything about his inner change. And we wanted to tell about his inner change, that he accepts the fact that he's in a wheelchair and he won't be the best football player anymore. So therefore, he decides to go to ask for a substitute, to sacrifice himself for the team, basically. Yeah.
Just a quick follow-up. Did you get any pushback from your funders when you changed the ending?
No. It's a state-funded system in the Netherlands. So if you have a green light on your script, you can do whatever you like. So we have no control while shooting of the funds. No.
How hard is it to get Dutch citizenship?
How hard is it?
To get citizenship.
We'll talk later. No, but just to add to Albie's question, Job and I, we talked a lot about the characters and the story, and we see in Holland a bit of a problem with boys I think it's a world's problem, that boys cannot show emotions. They have to be tough, but so. It is a very psychological road Dylan is going through, and of course, this ending was really good. This was a perfect ending because he showed his vulnerability. Like, come on, guys. I was a bit stupid. I dreamt of being the best player ever, but I'm simply not. I can't win this, and this is so honest, and this is his true strength. So I think, yeah, in many ways, it's the only ending of this story. It took a while but it was, you know, it's a process. If you're writing, you're always like...
Yeah, and we wrote a magic winning goal because we based it on the goal Robin van Persie scored for the Dutch squad during the World Cup 2014. It was with a diving header. And so Dylan
Flying Dutchman
was like pushing himself out of his wheelchair, diving to the ball, and then scoring with the header. So it was a genius goal, but it was a darling we had to kill. Yeah.
Congratulations on a great movie. Football is an amazing sport, brings so many people together. I saw on the credits that Tuzani played Tuzani. I don't know, is he a famous player? Who does he play for? And how did you get him in the movie?
It's a good question because, like Job said, we wrote the script on Van Persie, he was great at Manchester, right? Or
Arsenal and Manchester
and
United.
Manchester.
Yeah.
But he is one of the biggest Dutch football players. But of course, we would love to work with this guy, and he stopped his career, so we thought he has time to play in a family movie. No, not. So, and then Job came with the idea. Tuzani, the nice story is he wanted to become a professional football player, but he got scoliosis when he was 14 or 13, when he was young. So he had to give up his football dream, but he became a master in street football tricks. So he was quite, I think 15 years ago, he started to make YouTube videos, and he's, especially in Holland, very popular, but around the world, he's quite popular as a street football player. So Job said, he suits the story because it's his story as well. So yeah, it was, when we contacted him, it was quite easy to...
Yeah, and he turned down 6 movies, but he really liked this story because he really felt connected to it.
One more question?
Congratulations! I was looking forward to a light afternoon after the weekend. But it was really a fantastic story. I was curious about how you decided on the roles of the parents, and if that was fiction, how much that might have reflected your experience, Job. It was, in times I felt myself really angry at his father, and just wondered how you came to that dynamic.
Yeah, my father was actually a lot sweeter and more encouraging. We would always play badminton in the living room and all kinds of sports. And he drove me around the country for wheelchair races. I was very good at wheelchair racing as a kid. So my dad was totally different, but we wanted to let the dad struggle. Yeah, I think it fits the story. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were inspired in Holland. It's every village has 1 or 2 football teams or clubs, so it's very popular football for children. And but the parents, or especially the fathers at the sidelines, they're like very aggressive. So there is also this discussion, like, come on, chill out. It's just a game for the kids, and you have to let out all your aggression from your work week. So this was an inspiration, and then. It is also a story about being a boy or a man. I mean, the father also cannot show his emotion or his pain, so he's struggling inside. So we really were intrigued by this. What happens if your child, it's a horrible idea. Or what happened if your child gets disabled or another big thing happens to your child? It's devastating. So that both the parents are treating this situation very differently, and I think it helps the story of Dylan, that he really had to fight. He had to fight against his father, and in a sense, it made him stronger.
Camiel, Job, thank you again so much for such a fine film, and thank you all for joining us today. This concludes the New York chapter of this year's film festival. You all have ballots. Please do cast your vote for this film as well. And thank you all so much for joining us this year, and we hope to see you again next year. Take care.
Thank you very much.